Hey, Crafty friends, it's Judy Clock, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia. And I am pre-recording my video for tonight, May 8th, 2025, because I've just got some other things I need to do this evening. So I didn't want you to miss out. So I figured I'd come down this afternoon when I have some free time, and I would just go ahead and get it going. So today we are going to work with the Along These Lines stamp set. Now, this was the set that I received as my prize patrol during Onstage this past March. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted it. I just love the clean and simple lines that are great for coloring or just doing really simple yet elegant cards. So let's take a look at what we're going, and I've paired it, before I go any further, I've paired it with the Blooming Phrases stamp set because the along these lines has no sentiments. So the Blooming Phrases with that long extension at the end of the phrase just seem to work perfectly with the Along These Lines stamp set. So let's take a look. The first one we're going to do is going to be really just simple stamping. I had to get my little dogs in there somehow. You know, I'm a real dog lover. So it's just a simple happy birthday card. And we've just added the dog and that little heart, and we've added the heart down here. And we've used the Turtley Cute Designer Series paper to just add a little pop of color to this card. Next, I'm making a Thinking of You card, and I paired the Timid Tiger with the Secret Sea and the Peach Pie. I just really liked the way those colors really worked together. The blue undertones of the Secret Sea really seem to work with the two oranges because blue and orange are opposite each other on the color wheel, so that makes them complementary colors, so you know that they will always work well together. And then lastly, I'm participating in a Card a Day in May challenge, and I did this one for a sketch challenge, so I thought I would demonstrate this. We're going to do a little bit of the blending, ink blending here on our basic white. And then, of course, we've got a couple of die cuts. And then I might go ahead and emboss. I actually did emboss a little bit of this for the demo card because after I put it together, I'm like, it's kind of flat. It needs a little bit more texture or interest to this card. So we're going to go ahead and partially emboss this black layer. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So our first card base, and as always, there will be a corresponding blog post with all the measurements, so don't worry if you don't get them down. We have here a piece of our Balmy Blue, standard 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, so our standard A2 card base. I have a piece of basic white for the inside, that's our 5 1/4 by 4. This is going to be our front piece. This is 2.5 by 5.5. And then I didn't really want to use a whole lot of my designer series paper. So I cut a piece at 1.5 by 5.5, and then I split that in half. So I've got two pieces at 3 3/4. I'm sorry, reverse that. Two pieces at 3/4 of an inch by 5.5 inches. And we're just going to use that to just kind of layer that on and just let a little tiny bit peek out. You don't need to there's no reason to back the whole piece of white because we're really not going to see this. We just want that little bit to peek out from the top and bottom. So I thought it was a perfect way to kind of just get that little pop of designer series paper without wasting a big piece. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I am going to stamp I can't even get it open. I'm going to stamp our dog in our, I dropped one of my stamps. We'll pick it up in a minute. In our tuxedo black. Okay, and I'm going to stamp him, right about there. Now, the set also comes with these long, just straight lines. I'll leave that up there because I got to put it away. And we have a smaller one. I think that's the one I just dropped. A little bit of a smaller straight line. So I am going to ink that up. Now I might have to move my head in the way so I can see because I want to line that up with the end of the dog. All right, not too bad. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do that again. I'm going to line it up with the end of the line on the dog. And then I want to add a heart. Okay, I'm going to add a heart. Again, trying to make sure I line it up. And I'm just going to fill in that little tiny last piece over here with another line. Oh, that's a little bit off, but okay. We'll make it work. Now, I'm done with the black, so let me cover that up because I do tend to make a big mess with my ink pads. I'm going to come here and I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Poppy Parade. Just wanted to add a little bit of extra color. So I'm just going to go ahead and add my Poppy Parade. And I've lined up both my happy birthday on one stamp because you can do that. All right, so I've got that. And I want to add one more little heart. Now I did use my tuxedo black, so I'm going to clean off my heart stamp. And I am just going to line this up. I'm going to ink it up in Poppy Parade. And I'm just going to line it up, sort of, if I can see. I kind of want to stick my head under there. Okay, I think that's good. All right, not too bad. And we've got that. Now we're going to do a little bit of coloring. Again, I don't think coloring is beyond a beginner. Put that down a little bit more. And I'm going to take I have my dark Poppy Parade. Now this heart I'm going to color in all the way. And you really should use the blends with the tuxedo black ink, Memento ink. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it here because it's the same color as my ink. So I think it'll be okay. Ooh, I went a little bit outside the lines. All right. Now I'm going to come here. I'm going to color this other heart. And see how it's got that little white spot in the middle? I'm going to try to leave that open. And so the white kind of peeks through. And you can see the lines much better and appreciate the line art when you're using the Memento black ink. Okay. So we've got that. Now I'm going to color in our puppy. I'm going to use my crumb cake. My crumb cake is dying. This is light crumb cake. I definitely need to order some new crumb cake blends because I've had these for a long time and they're kind of worn out. So my next order I think is going to have some new blends on them because these are, see, if this was really like juicy, it would go so much faster, but it's not. So I'm having a little bit of a tough time getting the color to go. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll get it to go. I hear my husband just got home. I can hear him walking around upstairs. So when we did our basement, we only sprayed the ceiling. We sprayed it black. I guess that's like the new thing. So you leave it open. You don't like drywall it in because that leaves it open if, God forbid you have a leak or something. You can, obviously get to it much easier than if the ceiling is drywalled. The only drawback is that it doesn't provide that sound insulation from the upper floor. So that's my only drawback. I do like it, but there's no insulation. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of our pecan pie and I'm going to color in his little nose. I'm going to give him, because I think this is like a beagle. I'm going to make him a beagle. So I'm just going to kind of color in, like maybe we'll color one ear and give him a patch on one eye. And then we're just going to give him a couple of spots back here, a little bit on his tail. Going to give him some little socks on his paws. Okay, and then you can just sort of do whatever you want to do. Just add some little bit of color and just make it your own. But there we go. We've got our little beagly dog. All right, now we are ready to put our card together. So remember I said I cut those two designer series papers kind of short. Okay, this one was giving me trouble before. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the bottom and I'm just going to add that like that. So it's just going to peek out, right? It's just going to peek out and they'll never know that we don't have a full piece of designer series paper back here. And we're certainly not going to tell anybody our little secret here. Okay. And you can hear the dog chomping on the bone now. Yay. All right. So there we go. So that is that. Let's go ahead and put our inside piece on the inside. And again, you don't have to do this. I like having that basic white piece on the inside. I think it just gives the card a finished look, but that's me. All right, let's go ahead and add some adhesive to our front layer. Oh, come on. And because this is 5.5, it's going to go edge to edge. I'll just go ahead and get that on there. And there is our first card. So kind of cute, right? Good for guys, gals, everybody in between. All right, so there's our birthday card. Next, we're going to do our, kind of use this as a get well, thinking of you, just a note. So what I did was I had a piece of Timid Tiger. And once again, I'm going to move my stuff around so I can find it. And I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to stamp my tiger. Okay. I'm going to stamp him relatively close to the top of my paper. Now you'll notice, because this is a big stamp, I've got my sentiment up here. So I can still see what I'm stamping, even though I have double stamps, one on each side. That's a good way to kind of make the most of your stamps. Now I need my little stamp. I'm going to add that there. And I don't think we need to use the big one. I think I can still use this little. I'm going to turn this around just so I can see. I think it's a little bit easier for me. All right, not too bad. All right, so before I do anything else, oh gosh, I did mess it up. All right, we're going to flip this over because I knew that was going to happen. I dropped my cover on it and I got black ink on the bottom. So, okay, that's what happens. We're just going to restart, okay, because paper has two sides, so we can do this. All right, we got our tiger. All right, got our little extra line. Flip it around. Got our little extra line. Okay, now I'm going to move this out of the way. Woo! I'm going to cover up my ink. All right. Now I wanted to do some embossing along the bottom. So I thought, what would look good? So I thought of our new mini corrugated embossing folder. So now I want the lines to go the long way, like this way. So I'm going to put it in this way. All right, I'm going to make it go right up to like where his toes are. All right, now always put it in hinge first. I'm going to flip it around. And because this is a 3D embossing folder, I'm going to use my number 1 and my number 4. Okay, and we're just going to run this through. Okay. And that is going to go. Ooh, there we go. All right, we got that. Now you see how I added just some corrugated lines kind of underneath him? I kind of like the way that looks. There we go. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of fussy cutting, which if you know me, you know fussy cutting is not my jam. But I guess like anything else, they say if you do it enough, you get better. And I think I've gotten a little bit better. So it doesn't quite look like a 5-year-old did it all the time. Sometimes it still does, but I'm getting better. I guess that it's true what they say. Practice does make proficient or progress or perfect, whatever phrase you want to use. I don't really mind whatever you want to say. I'm just getting better at fussy cutting. So maybe once I get better, I won't mind it quite so much. Okay, I just thought it'd be fun to kind of cut him out and sort of have like the silhouette of the tiger against that secret sea. What do you think? Let me know. What do you think? Is that something? Yes? No? We should have. We shouldn't have. All right, here we go. We're almost to the end. All right. All right, there we go. So now we've got our little tiger cut out. Now let's bring in the rest of our card pieces. So I've got our peach pie that is 11 by 4 1/4. So this is going to open up a different way, right? I've got our basic white for the inside, the same 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to go ahead and add this. Okay. All right. Now, all right. Why am I having, I'm like really struggling with this right now. There we go. All right, we got that in. Now, I want him to just sort of be a little bit up on the tiger. So I'm going to add some liquid glue to this part of my tiger. Well, no, actually, I don't want to do that because I want to pop my tiger up. So I'm going to try to figure out where this goes because I want to put this so it's kind of like right there. All right, so that's kind of where I want that to go. I'm just going to kind of flip that over. I'm going to add some liquid glue because again, I've embossed this, so liquid glue works better on the embossed pieces. And that actually gives me just a little bit of time to play with it and get it perfect before I figure out that, yes, that's where I want my tiger. Okay. So now we're going to add some dimensionals. If I can find them. That's not them. Here they are. I was doing so, oh, actually, I'm going to add liquid. Well, no, I can do dimensionals. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. I have lost my ever-loving mind. It looks like it's been a pretty day today, but it looks like it might storm again. I don't know. Our backyard grass, it's been raining so much, which is a very good thing. We need the rain, but I'm going to lose my little boxer mix in the backyard if we don't get that backyard cut soon. It's kind of long, and she's got little legs. Go out there. I'm not going to be able to find Chloe one day. No, I think my husband's going to go out tomorrow and cut it. So it's got to, like I said, the ground was really wet. It's got to dry out just a bit. In the meantime, we'll make sure we don't lose Chloe. All right, so now we've got that. I'm going to come in here with Thinking of You, and I'm going to do this in Secret C. I really liked the way the Secret C looked on the peach pie. I mean, I could have just done the black, but the Secret C just gives it another little dimension. All right, Thinking of You. Now, what I also love about the blooming phrases is they've got these extra little ones like this, which I forgot to put on a block. But you can use this to kind of add a little bit of detail to the edge of your line. So there we go. So that is number 2. Let's go ahead and add some embellishments. I had our in color 25-27 in color flat pearls, right? Flat pearls. Oh my goodness. And I'm just going to go ahead and add like one of each size. They come in 3 sizes, like small, medium, and large. So we're just going to go ahead and add one of each size to our card. All right. And that is our second card. So what do you think? So in the first one, I left that Secret C, I left it flat. I didn't emboss it. And in the second, the one we did today, I embossed it. What do you think? Yes, we should have embossed the Secret C, or no, we should have left it flat. Let me know what your thoughts are. All right, and last, we've got our little sketch design. Excuse me. So once again, I'm going to have a gray granite card base. I'm going to put in a piece of basic white on the inside. This is, again, our standard 5 1/4 by 4. All of my layers are pretty standard usually. All right, now, then I took a piece of basic black and I embossed it. This is the Gardens and Glass embossing folder set. They're the small ones that come with the celebratory sip. So here's this one. It's one of the smaller ones. It will fit in the mini embossing, and we used the glass one in the previous card. So on my sample card, I left it flat, and after I made it, I'm like, it really needs some texture. So I went ahead and I went and texturized it on this one. Let's go ahead and see if we can. No, yeah, see, it's starting to hurt my cardstock. Let's go and just add. See, I should always stick with what I know. All right, let's go ahead and add this to our card front. And I'm putting the embossed side on the right because we've got all of these other elements that we're going to put on the left. So we've got our DSP. We're going to put that right there. Okay. Go ahead and add that. I'm going to put that a little bit towards the top. And these are kind of off center, and that's fine. Okay. And then we've got a piece of strawberry slush cardstock. Oh my goodness. What the heck is going on with this? Okay. This thing is not playing nice. It's just ripping all of my cardstock. There we go. Get that out of the way. Sometimes it will do that. A new one. Sometimes when I start a new one, it just doesn't play nice at the beginning. All right, we're going to put this one kind of, again, a little bit off. Okay. There we go. And then we've got our lemon lolly square. I'm just going to kind of put that there. All right. All right. And then I'm going to put that there. Okay. Then I've got a piece of basic white here, and we're going to do a little blending. So I'm going to take my strawberry slush. All right, and I'm just going to add some color. Now, I always start off my paper because I don't want to get a big blob right on my paper. That would not be good. All right, and then I'm going to come in with some lemon lolly. All right, so kind of make this a little bit soft. I'm trying to make this a little bit soft. And again, over here, start off, and I'm just going to add color until I feel like I've gotten the mix that I want. Okay, a little bit more with my lemon. All right, turning everything around over here. I'm going to come in with just a little tiny bit more of my strawberry slush, kind of tone down some of that yellow. All right. All right, that looks good. Then when you're done, you will die cut it with the Stylish Shapes circle die. And we're going to get, ta-da, a little circle. Okay. I think I like this side better. This is one of those mistake things. All right, now I've got my rose here, but now if you notice, the rose has the line, excuse me, coming out at the top. I don't want that line. So before I ink my stamp, I'm going to take a little piece of washi tape and I'm going to mask that top line. All right, I'm going to come in here. Again, I've got my Memento Tuxedo Black. I'm going to ink up my stamp. This is the critical step. Remove the washi tape before you stamp. Ask me how I learned that. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp our rose onto our paper. And we kind of omitted that top line coming straight out of the top. Okay, and then if you want, you can run some Wink of Stella over it. I'm going to pop this up on Stampin' Dimensionals. Let's bring our card base back in. Pop this up on our Stampin' Dimensionals. See, I didn't like how much I got, like a big blob of strawberry slush, so that's why I did the other side. I'm like, I don't like that. So that's the good thing, though, when you have two sides. If you make a mistake, you can flip it over. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and add our rose. Okay, and then I'm going to add some of our strawberry slush flat pearls. Again, oh, I'm almost out of the little ones. I'm going to go add one there. We'll add, come on, we'll add one there. Maybe I'll do one more big one. We'll add one there. And that is card number 3. So those are our 3 cards using along these lines and blooming phrases that we did today. So I hope you like these. I hope you'll give these stamp sets a try. If you were on stage and you got the along these lines stamp set, I really think there's a lot that you could do with it. So I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that you will give these a try. If you're stuck for what colors to use, you can always use my Crafty Color Combo Magic tool. There will be a link below in the video description. It's my Linktree link, so you can link out to my email, to my newsletter, and to get that custom tool, color tool. Anyway, I hope you have a great evening. I will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.